Every great city has its tales, and I've been documenting their stories and people for over 20 years. This is Tales of a City.
AA put out on the net some very nice things about you. They said Bob Francis was cheeky, he's rude, got a foul mouth, and he's an ignorant bastard. And they were all the good points.
Fucking right.
And how did Bob Francis get into radio?
I went to Prince Alfred College. Lovely education, beautiful time there. Barbara Intini's here. She used to work there at Princess Bernard. Oh no, you weren't. You weren't even born when I was there. And I finished in the intermediate. I'd taken 2 years to get my intermediate. I passed French the first year, and that was it. And then I went back again and was the captain of the rowing eights at Prince Alfred College. We won the race there against St Peter's College, and suddenly I met up with a nurse who said to me it just wasn't convention for me to be wearing a school uniform. And they were the days when school uniforms, Prince Alfred College, we had to wear a cap, a rather stupid little bloody cap, had to wear them everywhere. And she had a beautiful uniform, which was the Royal Adelaide Hospital, magnificent big red cape, it was just beautiful. And she said, this is not convention for me to be going out with a schoolboy. And I just went and asked Dad, could I get a job? And he said, oh, well, you're not doing too well at school, so all right. And he helped me get a job at Olympic Tyre Company. It was on Anzac Highway. It was a desk clerk, taking orders for bloody test for tubes and tyres. You know, 1/640 by 13, 137, it was bloody boring as shit. And I used to sit in my Morris Minor car at lunchtime with a paper bag, luncheon and a Coke. And I heard Barry Hall doing Choose Your Own. And the announcer on the air said, if you'd like to become, if anybody would like to be a panel operator with a chance of becoming an announcer, apply. Well, went straight to my head, that's where I want to be. So I went home and I asked Dad if he'd write me a letter. So I said, you'd write me a letter? He said, yes please. So I wrote the letter, and I remembered that Joe Larkin was at Prince Alfred Old Collegium. And this is where I've learned the fact is of being in the old school tie really worked out very well with me, thank you very much. So I wore the old school tie, the old school badge, and walked in for the interview. Well, as soon as we walked in, like instead of the old days of where, when you're interviewing somebody, we say, well, young man, where do you see yourself in the future, and what are you looking forward to, and your business life, and all that sort of stuff. We started talking about the schoolmasters and the school itself, and we had a conversation, and it gave me a chance to chat about things that were much more easier than if he'd asked me some bloody hard question. And I got the job from 150 applicants, became a paddle operator, and then I had to go and do national service. And I was there only 2 months at 5DN when I did national service for 3 months, and luckily those days when you did national service, you were automatically put back in your job again. But one of the best times of my life, 3 months doing national service at Woodside, was just bloody amazing. I came back and started the job there, and I think I'm lucky to have been in the right place at the right time over the period of 57 years that I did in radio.
Yeah,
I went from DN to AD in 61, then I stayed 25 years, went to AA 25 years, and that was basically the routine. I think I was out of work for about 2 weeks in that whole period of time. And to get the television was the Hi-Fi Club. The Hi-Fi Club had me do a 5-minute segment with Bert Newton every Saturday afternoon on a half-hour program here. Then Ken Sparks joined in, and there were 3 of us who were the presidents from each of the states. And that got me into that part of the side of television. Did a lot of good Friday appeals, and with that I had a television show called Action, which was a top 40 promotable thing. then Anything Can Happen, which was a show which had people go out and do stunts in the streets of Adelaide. Then I had...
Now, I remember a Friday night show where you in fact wore a dinner suit.
The Penthouse Club.
Penthouse Club, that's the one, yes.
Yeah. So I did television for a good 10, 15 years. And I remember the time that it's 1974 and Woolsey and I were doing the Penthouse Club. And the ratings had come out and everything was fantastic for Saturday night. And John Fowler, the general manager of Channel 7, called us in at one Monday morning, and we were walking up the stairs, the beautiful bloody house that used to be the front of Channel 7 studios in North Adelaide. And we said to Woolsey, let's ask him for more money. And she said, yeah, what have you got here? And we're all happy as hell. We walked into John Fowler's office and we sat down and he said, I've got some news. And I said, what? He said, the show finished last Saturday night. And I went, fuck! That's the only thing I can do. And he sort of fell backwards and said, I'm terribly sorry, but we can't afford the cost of black and white television turning into colour television. And that's how I lost my television career, because of the costs.
Ladies and gentlemen, the Beatles.
Oh, God, that's on that record, yeah.
The most famous 5 words ever spoken, I think, in South Australia. How did all that come about?
Everything that happened up until the night the Beatles arrived on stage, everything sort of surrounded me, gave me all the publicity in the world that I had my 15 minutes worth of publicity that no one could ever dream of. But it was just fantastic. We collected 80,000 signatures, and the kids went crazy in the streets, and it was that brought the Beatles to Adelaide, and they wouldn't have come in any case. But Ron Tremaine had a lot to do with it too, because it was through Ron, who went to John Martin's, who got some money to pay for the money, and he paid something like $3,000 to have the Beatles appear in Adelaide, and they were paid $3,000 to do the whole Australian tour by the promoter of the show at that time. It was quite amazing. The publicity, the amount of lies that came out of that show, of how the Beatles had 10 million birds in their rooms and how they were rooting everybody, and it was absolute total bloody rubbish. In fact, the only chance I think a girl got close to the Beatles was one girl who'd been asking me for their autograph for months prior to this, and I said, listen, no one is going. I was the only one allowed backstage with the Beatles. So the girl just kept on bugging me, and I said, no, backstage of the Centennial Hall. And so many guys who worked at Centennial Hall would remember that upstairs room, which was the band room. It was a dirty, scungy, filthy, globes around the windows, globes broken, window parts broken. That's what it looked like for the Beatles. Exactly the same, nothing extra, because every star today, they asked for bloody gold curtains and champagne and bloody caviar and all that sort of stuff. They had nothing. This girl, who'd been bugging me for months, said, please allow me in. And I said, no, you can't. Well, I'm sitting backstage with the 4 guys, and there's a knock on the door, and I open the door, and this girl is standing there. She's dressed in a black outfit with a white pitty, a white little crown top that the South Australian Hotel staff used to wear. He had a tray with 4 silver cups and said, coffee for the Beatles? I said, you slut ass. How the hell she thought of that? It was a great idea. She brought it in, she served the Beatles, they gave her an autograph, she gave them each a hug, and it was just her magical moment for the day. And I reckon that's the only closeness they got to a bird in those whole 4 days, because they were stuck in their room and nobody could get anywhere near the bloody place.
Which would you prefer, radio or TV?
Radio or TV?
Yes.
Oh, radio by far. Radio because you can do what you like, when you feel like it, and you're in charge. In television, you've got so many people who are telling you what to do. Producers, directors, CCUs, cameras, all that sort of stuff. And although I enjoyed my life on television, it got my face to be known around the place. And I reckon I was the best known radio face in Adelaide for a long time, and still am. And I love being recognised. I love people saying g'day and hello. But I don't miss one moment of not being on air. Prices, and the lovely Katina is your host. Katina's at the Printing Park Supercentre, my sort of restaurant. Good, give me a copy
We're now 40 years old and 35 years old. Speaks like a boy hits. And at this time, exactly 20 years ago, we welcomed the Beatles on stage here.
See what I looked like when I was younger? You think I'm nice now? Talking about my wife Anna, down the front down here.
She's lovely.
I've been married 5 times. She's been married 7 times. She hates me saying that.
Was that twice to you?
But we have found the right partner at last, and she is just absolutely gorgeous.
Well,
When you're doing radio, you have to paint a picture. You have to say, it's no use saying, hello Jim, gee, you look good today, unless you tell them what they're looking like and what their features are, maybe, all that sort of stuff.
you would have been to Kim Benithan's house a few times.
Oh yeah, sure. A lovely man.
Wasn't he a character?
What a person who had so much push, and luckily through him, we had a chance to see Count Basie and his orchestra, Duke Ellington and his orchestra. I went to a party, in fact, one night at Kim's place with Louis Armstrong and Dave Brubeck.
Wow.
And that was just quite amazing. Guys just sitting around the piano, playing the piano as if it was just going to Fred Smith's party, you know. I was comparing some awards, radio awards in Sydney once, and at that time I'd been known for telling stories with accents and things like that. Please don't have to tell a story because I haven't told one for years. But this one related to a mafia type. No, I put the mafia
Gangster
accent on. The guy in the audience came to me afterwards, he said, I've got a job for you. And it was the mafia style oil soul. And I did a series of nine TV commercials for them, plus a singing one, and I was all for being in Vietnam, the Australian involvement in Vietnam. And I received a white feather in the mail once saying that you're a coward, how dare you speak about Vietnam and be on for it, that you wouldn't dare even go there. So luckily enough, Ron Collins, our production manager, got together. I had the full accreditation from the American Air Force, the American Defence Force, the Australian Defence Force and the Vietnamese government. And I was given a full accreditation as a war correspondent. And we flew to Vietnam. And I did 2 weeks in Vietnam of being able, with that pass, it was amazing. You go to Ton Son Airport in Saigon, there's planes flying everywhere, there's bloody helicopters and jets and bloody big C-130s. And out of the airport, it was just a massive, it was the busiest airport in the world. And I was allowed to get onto any aircraft I wished to go anywhere in Vietnam, just for that little pass on. And the interesting thing, I didn't use it that much to go to places because every afternoon at 5 o'clock was called the Folie Bergère. And in Saigon, there was a theatre there, and every representative, every magazine, Washington Post, New York, the whole lot, were all in Saigon. They'd go 5 o'clock to the theatre. Out would come a 5-star general. They'd all call him Frank, and Frank would know all, there was all, you know, one first name sort of situations. And they would report the war from what was happening in Saigon that night, because nobody was really willing to get out there and see it. Unless the very individual cameraman, and cameras in those days were pretty loud to try and get the rights of the war. And that's where the war was told. The story was told in the Folie Bergère in Saigon. And Sir Michael Redgrave is asked to come to the studio. And Andy Thorpe and I, had a sign that if we ran out of questions and didn't have any more to talk about, we'd put our hands to our nose and there was your turn to finish off the interview. Well, we had him in for 3/4 of an hour, and within 2 questions, the old prick was so tired and so bored, all he did was say yes and no to each answer, that Andy, within 2 questions, just put a hand up like that, and I was stuck with him for 3/4 of an hour. of him saying yes and no. What a son of a bitch. I got into trouble many times, talking, going on the air, saying things. I'm in the classified area of the lawyers who now work for 5AA as being the person who's created problems on air, mostly from any announcer they've ever had. That I've been pulled in so many times to officers say, you can't do this, you can't say this, you can't say that. I got away with most of it. I'm glad I lived through the 1960s and 70s. We had a good time, didn't we? We had and everybody says to me, you couldn't remember the 60s if you remember the 60s, you couldn't have been there because they were all involved in drugs and everything. I swear, I have never, ever been asked to take marijuana, ice, shit, whatever, in all my bloody life. You know, we never had anybody that I know who's taken it and bloody zonked out of their brains. And if there are people here who take drugs, you're a stupid mob of arseholes.